In this video, I'm going to show you why SEO is the most overlooked channel in ecom and why the brands that do invest in it are quietly compounding revenue while everyone else is just competing with paid advertising and driving each other's CPCs up. If you don't know who I am, I'm Nico Martinez. I've been in the SEO industry for over 6 years now. I've worked on over 200 projects and I've helped scale some of them to over 7 figures in annual revenue. So let's get to the video. So, if you're in ecom, everyone's pretty much scaling with ads, email, influencers, UGC. You can see it everywhere on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, even. Everyone's talking about paid ads, email, influencer, UGC. But the one channel that no one's really talking about is SEO. And it makes sense because SEO is not a good fit for most e-commerce brands. But for the brands where SEO is a good fit, ignoring it is costing these brands hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in revenue, right? Because right now in the e-com space, if you're doing e-commerce, you're probably trying to do it with paid ads, and it makes sense because paid ads are very straightforward, right? You pay for the ad. If it's profitable, you keep paying, right? And if you do find a winning ad angle, creative, etc., they work really well, right? You're basically printing money. But, and paid ads work, as I say here, until they don't. Because what happens is over time, your competitors see your winning ad, they kind of copy it, and everyone else ends up copying the same thing. So your ROAS shrinks over time because your CPAs are going up. You're hitting a plateau. And then you stop paying, and then you don't have any more traffic, and then the revenue stops as well. That is different compared to SEO, which I'm going to talk about later. I'm first going to talk about why SEO gets ignored in the first place, right? It's not like why it's not like paid ads. If you go to Twitter and you're into anything e-commerce, right? You're following any of the e-com guys, they're going to be talking about paid ads because if you find a winning ad creative and get a 10x ROAS, it's like you're basically printing money, and it's very enticing to get this, right? And SEO is not the same. It's not as sexy. It's not as instant as getting a winning ad creative or angle. And it can be seen as a little technical or slow, right? People, when they think about SEO, they think about all the technical SEO stuff, which is actually the least important thing when it comes to SEO, right? And then, yes, SEO can take time. Like, it does take time for SEO to ramp up. And I guess this is why it's not as attractive to people, especially when, they're running an e-com brand. They want to get revenue as soon as possible. And they're seeing other brands get like 10x ROAS, and they're like, oh, I can do this, right? That's how I want to do this. So when you're comparing that to SEO, which is, kind of slow and may seem technical, even though it's not as technical as most people think, it makes sense why SEO gets ignored. It's kind of like a black box also for those who aren't familiar with SEO. They don't really know how it works. And it's not as straightforward as paid advertising. And again, as I mentioned, it doesn't give a quick dopamine hit like seeing a 10x ROAS. It's like a slow burn, right? But, as I said, SEO is the most undervalued, overlooked growth channel because when it comes to SEO, it's compounding growth. When you start ranking for one keyword, you usually rank for that keyword for a while, and you're just stacking new keywords on top of another. So over time, you just end up ranking for way more keywords, and you get way more traffic, and then way more revenue over time. So SEO is compounding growth. Your traffic compounds, your revenue compounds as well. And the big difference is with SEO and paid advertising is like you're building an asset. You're not renting traffic. When it comes to paid advertising, you have to pay for the traffic, right? If you stop paying, you basically stop getting traffic and revenue. When it comes to SEO, yes, you have to invest a certain amount every month, usually not as much as paid advertising, but you're building an asset, right? You're usually going to keep those rankings over a long period of time, and it's just going to keep stacking more rankings, more keywords on top of another, right? And when you do rank again, it's actually much easier to maintain those rankings than actually to get them in the first place. And when you're ranking 24/7, you're basically driving revenue or sales without paying for every click, right? Like you invest a fixed out amount every month, your rankings improve over time. Those rankings will drive traffic, revenue, and you're not actually paying for every click. So your ROI on SEO actually improves the longer you invest in it, right? And the last thing is really like it supports a full funnel. You SEO is basically like you need to publish blog content to achieve topical authority. You're optimizing your collections or your product category pages, and your product pages have to be optimized as well. And you know this improving all this actually is good for your brand, right? It's good for your brand. It makes your brand look authoritative. It'll make your conversion rate much higher when you have if you do make the SEO improvements to your collection and product pages, you will see an CRO boost, right? And one thing that a lot of people overlook, even SEOs, is that SEO actually improves your paid ads performance, right? So if you're investing a significant amount into paid advertising, you should be able to spend at least $3,000 on SEO, just because SEO itself will give you an ROI and will improve the performance of your paid advertising. And this is how it will improve the performance of your paid advertising. So when you optimize your landing pages, your shopping pages for SEO, you actually improve your quality score. So you'll end up with lower CPCs if your landing pages, whether that's blog content, your product category pages, or your product pages, if you optimize those pages for SEO, you'll end up with lower CPCs, right? With regards to Google Ads, by the way. And with regards to Facebook, you know, your metapixel gets trained off better buyers, right? Like if you sell vacuum cleaners and your metapixel is being triggered or firing when on people who are searching for vacuum cleaners on Google, this sends the right information to Facebook. Like, okay, this is like the customer that we're looking for, right? People looking for vacuum cleaners. So you end up getting a lower CPC as well, right? And then again, because you're optimizing your content for SEO, whether it's blog content or shopping page content, and then it'll be better content and it'll warm up your traffic, your leads, your potential customers for retargeting or even just, whether however they end up landing on your website, right? And as I mentioned, like when you're making these improvements to your shopping pages, SEO actually forces CRO improvements, which benefits ads too, right? And last but not least is just more visibility. It makes a lot of sense. If someone sees an ad for your vacuum cleaner and they didn't buy off of your ad and they end up like searching on Google for the best vacuum cleaners and your site still pops up, then it's like, oh, I know this brand. I've seen an ad from this brand already, right? There's multiple touch points. It ends up, they end up being warmer and more likely to buy from your brand. Okay. And here's a quick case study showing the power of SEO. So this brand has been relying mostly on paid advertising for the longest time. And they knew they needed to invest in SEO because their Google ads were working really well. And Google ads are basically just like SEO, but you pay for the clicks, right? So they knew which keywords they wanted to rank and target, but they didn't have the expertise to do it themselves. So they worked with an SEO agency, which wasn't us, right? So they actually worked with another SEO agency first for a year, and they paid that other SEO agency 5K per month, and they were getting around 50 to 100 clicks per day. Okay, and they weren't really happy, but they were paying that for a year because they knew they needed SEO. But here's the thing: when it comes to SEO, you need to work with the right agency. A lot of SEO agencies actually don't know what they're doing. So yeah, they basically switched to us. We charged less than 5K and we got way better results, right? We got 20x results for less. In the start, they were getting between 50 and 100 clicks per day. At its peak, December last year, because this tends to be seasonal, right? They peaked at 2,215 clicks in a single day. And when it came to page one rankings, when we started working with them, they just had 100 page one rankings, which is crazy. And at the time of when we wrote this case study, which was in December last year, they now had 1,300 page one rankings, right? And again, that's like 20 times more clicks than they were getting before they started working with us and they were working with another SEO agency. And that's 20 times the clicks, and they're still paying the same fixed amount every month. And if I pull this up today, they have way more traffic now because they have those same rankings from December and more because we're continuing to work on their SEO. Like again, they had 1,300 in December. They probably have 2,000, over 2,000 now. But yeah, so SEO compounds over time, and you can see that here. It's going to be a slow burn, but once you reach that point where okay, Google trusts your brand and starts ranking you for way more keywords, SEO is a really good investment because okay, you might be spending 5-6 figures on ads, but you only need to spend like 3 to 5K on SEO, and you can get insane results like this. Okay. Okay. And another thing I want to talk about is which brands SEO is ideal for. Because I mentioned at the start of this video that most e-commerce brands are actually not a good fit for SEO, right? SEO is a good fit for brands that have a lot of SKUs because when you have a lot of SKUs, a lot of product categories, those are all potential keywords that we can target and rank, right? That means we can drive significantly more traffic versus a brand with less SKUs where, okay, we don't have many keywords that we can target because they're just not carrying enough products, right? Another thing is like we like to look at high AOVs, whether it's high ticket products or people like to buy a lot in their basket before purchasing, because that means that we don't have to drive a significant amount of traffic to get significant revenue growth, right? Like if you're selling a hot tub for $20,000, one sale is going to, be one sale is going to be worth it, right? When if you have two sales, that's 40K. Your SEO already paid for itself, basically. And you don't need a lot of traffic to get those two sales, especially if you're ranking for the right keywords, right? If you're ranking for like a luxury hot tub, 4-person hot tub, et cetera, those people are likely going to buy your product. They're looking for it, right? Another thing is like existing search demand. We like working with brands that carry products that are evergreen and show, that have shown to have search demand over a long period of time. We know that's reliable compared to, products with zero search volume, like newer products, newer inventions that people don't really know about, that aren't searchable, usually not a good fit for SEO, right? And, last but not least, brands willing to play the long game. SEO can take time, and the ROI from SEO is actually better over time. So SEO is not a good fit for those brands that are just looking for a quick win within a month, within 2 months, because yeah, your ROI from SEO in let's say even month 6 and month 18 is significantly different. Your ROI in month 18 can be 10 times what you're doing in month 6. So you need to be patient if you want to invest in SEO. And again, yeah, not ideal for zero search volume keywords, new inventions, new products. You don't know if there's no one searching for it, then yeah, like SEO is not for you. And then trend driven brands, the same thing. Like it's trendy now, but that search volume can disappear. And when that does disappear, it's like, okay, you invested in all these rankings or nothing, right? So yeah. So that's what these are the brands that SEO are ideal for, and these are the ones that SEO is not ideal for. And obviously the opposite of this also, right? Like brands with low SKUs, just not much keywords. Brands with low AOV, we need to drive a lot of traffic to make it worth it. Existing search demand, again, it's probably like a combination of these two. And then yeah, if your brand is, if you're not patient, then SEO is probably not for you. Okay. And now I'm going to give you a brief guide on how to start with SEO. A lot of people think that SEO is very technical. They fix these title tags, these schema, etc. But when it comes to what really moves the needle, it's usually this. First, you want to optimize bottom of the funnel. So your product pages or your product category pages, you want to add content to those pages, longer product and product category descriptions, some frequently asked questions, reviews. The goal is basically to answer all the questions your customers have about those products or that product category on those shopping pages. Number 2, publish blog content. You want to show the search engine that your brand is the authority or expert in your industry. And that involves, again, answering all the questions your customers have about your products or product categories, and not just on the shopping pages, but having dedicated blog posts covering those topics if needed, right? Some of these topics are going to be very comprehensive. They need to be in depth. They need to be answered in depth. And so you need to create or publish blog content answering those questions and internally link. That's number three. Internally link those blog posts to the shopping pages here. Again, because like you want to funnel your customers or your audience to your shopping pages. And then number four, very important, especially today, where AI really helps you with the content. It's not so difficult to add content to your shopping pages, write good blog posts because of AI. The battle is really won with link building. If you're not familiar to link building, it's basically when another website links to yours. Google or the search engine see this as a trust signal, because if another authoritative or trustworthy website is linking to your website, Google sees this as a signal of, okay, this website must be good because other websites are linking to it, right? That's why Wikipedia ranks number one for so many keywords, because a lot of websites or brands cite Wikipedia as a source, right? And last but not the least, be patient. Again, SEO can take time, and compound growth usually starts between 3 to 6 months in. Okay. And here's the final word to leave with you. Again, SEO isn't a channel you test because it can take time. It's really an asset that you build over a long period of time, and it's worth it. We typically get like over 10x ROIs with SEO, given enough time. And if you're tired of rented growth in having to brainstorm ad copy and angles every week, and then just eventually losing your edge over time anyway, I advise you to invest in SEO. This is the whole playbook that we use. If you're serious about SEO, you really need to execute this whole playbook: technical SEO, on-page SEO, and off-page SEO. If you want to learn more about this whole playbook, I will leave a link in the description to our Shopify SEO Mastermind. In that mastermind, we basically cover everything in this whole playbook, everything, the whole SEO process, basically how we get the results we do at our agency. Again, check it out. I will leave a link in the description. And yeah, that's it for now. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for listening. Cheers.